Hello everyone on Cymatic TV. We're going to be going into the high M flare that came off of the sun and what the sun is doing at the moment, because over the last 10-12 days since the beginning of March there's been a change of attitude in the sun, and you may have noticed it in yourself. We're going to be looking into the earthquake rhythms, we're going to be looking into the rhythms of the sun and seeing how that equates with us as individuals. And therefore it helps you to actually know when to push on the accelerator and when not to push on the accelerator. So without further ado, let's just go into what's going on with the sun.
Don't believe, just know. Cymatic TV, turning vibration into reality.
So here we have the GOES X-ray flux data here, and this is over the last week. And if you look to the beginning part of the week in this section here, one thing you'll notice that it's dropped a lot in the way of activity. There is a slight pickup that's coming here, but it's very, very sporadic. Now, I've been saying on my sister channel, which is a tarot reading channel, which is called the Astro Flower, and I was reading the tarots for the monthly of March, and I was saying the first 2 weeks of March could be quite complicated because the energy's not there. And this has been what the sun has been like. The sun at the beginning of March, after a very highly active February, just sort of calmed down. And we might have noticed, you might have noticed individually, that over this period, we've also calmed down over this time here. And I've been saying on that channel there in my tarot reading, and if you'd like to go and have a look, there's a link in the description below for your particular sign. I've been saying that the sun is going to kick back in the earth direction and really start vibrating the earth from around between the 16th to the 21st of March. I think personally it's going to hit on the 19th, but we will see in time. But then people were saying to me, yeah, but we've had this massive M flare. We've had 2 M flares over the past sort of like 2 or 3 days. And yes, we have. There is no doubt about it. If we look at it here over a 3-day period, we can see that M flare there. There was a slight M flare that was just before that. But that slight M flare there, and it was vaguely in the direction of the Earth. But we saw it on Cymatic TV, that big X flare, that we saw that it was actually a lot of light, but not a lot of electromagnetic sort of activity, but nothing in the way of particles or anything that was going to really sort of do damage to the Earth. And this has been the same thing for this M flare. So let's go and have a look at the sun and see how that has actually been working on the sun. Here we have the sun over those past few days, and you can see that there's been filament eruptions, but there's also big eruptions here out the back, and then there's that M flare that we could see just there. As I was talking about my predictions, here we go here, the eruptions on the sun here. This is just about going around it. And what you might have noticed there on the top left-hand side is something really major eruption that happened. Now, if this was coming our way, look at that, people. If that was coming our way, that would have really taken out the Earth amazingly. And that is what's coming in the future. That's round the backside of the sun at the moment, and that's what's possibly coming through in the future. I think it was an eruption of a solar flare, but also mainly a filament eruption. And this is the energy that we're going to be getting a lot more of over the next year and a half. This is an emotional type of energy, and it's going to create an emotional vibration around us, which is going to provoke, obviously, emotions from within us. And this is all about setting up over the first 2 weeks of March, getting ready for that energy to come back flowing through around about the 19th. And when it does, that's when you can really step into action. So here we are back with the M flare, and it's so minute that it actually took me some time to find it. And as you go back slowly, here it comes here, I think. There it is there. I think it's there. Or is it just after that or before? There it is there. I tell you, it's really difficult to find it. So, you know, it's a sort of, it's nothing really, it's a real nothing burger in the way of sort of vibration coming from the sun. There is no doubt about it. It's nowhere near as big as it was in February, and it's certainly not really hitting us in any sort of known factor. There is a bit going on, I guess, with the flare here, and this is where the prediction we have here of what the effects is coming off. But there's one thing we should know and we should see here is when it goes through the Earth on this section here, and you see this dark blue line, that's where it drops out. So it creates like a buffer in front of it, like a ship as it's going through the water. It creates this wave in front of it. But then after that, then there's this big dip. And I think this is contributing to this radio silence from the sun, as it were. And we may well be feeling it emotionally, physically, morally, all of those sort of aspects. It may be hitting people if you're prone to depression and so forth. Be very attentive. Try and practice mindful activities, meditation, and so forth. And don't forget that it's just a passing wave. And this is what we should understand about this. Things go in a wave. And when we understand about it going in a wave, then we can understand our waves within us. Once we understand that, and it's so much easier to see the waves outside of us, once we understand that, it's much easier to control or to measure our own mood swings, our own sort of bipolar, that sort of activity at the moment. And you might well be feeling it. And just to sort of illustrate that, let me just show you this video here that's on YouTube. You can find it. It's Newton's pendulum, Newton's cradle pendulum. Now here you have the one rhythm, the universal rhythm of the Earth here. And then it starts getting mixing up within itself. And then we get to sort of freeze frame about there. Oh no, not quite. About there, where you get almost like a 4 and sometimes even a 5 going on. Then it goes back down to a 3, and then it goes back up to a 4 again, and then comes back down to a 2. And then from there, it goes back into the vortexes. We get a slight 3 there, sorry. And then it goes back into again, where we get the 4 there, so slightly. And then it breaks back into the rhythm again of life, as it were. And this rhythm here, we can see it coming through us all the time in life. It's the highs and lows of life. And if you were to know when those highs and lows are coming through in the energetic world, you can apply them in your life. So it actually helps you enormously to be a lot more productive, a lot more constant within your emotions, within your energies as well, which helps with manifesting things within your life. Okay, but let's go back to the sun there, because this is where we're doing predictions. As I said earlier on, we were predicting about the sun coming through in getting more active in the 19th, around about the 19th of March. So let's just go back and see what's going on with that. And to see that, I'd like to just sort of show you here what you can see erupting on that far side, which I was talking about. On the far side of the sun, it had that big eruption, and this is what we're sort of, this is what's coming round to face us. Yeah. So here you can see there's been a few eruptions here on the bottom left around here and onto the right, and eventually we come to the stage here where we did have that sort of eruption, this sort of filament eruption there. But look at this puppy coming off on the top left hand side, just about now. There it is there. Look at that. Look at that. That is just absolutely amazing. Now, that is not directed in the direction of the Earth. It is directed away from the Earth, which is quite lucky actually, because the Earth's vibration is gradually going down, and that may well, if that came in our direction, yeah, it could probably cause some serious damage. But look, when you see from the X flare or from the high M flare, this is what we're talking about here, this section here. You can just see it coming out of the bottom left in this section, bottom right in this section here. There's nothing really. It's a real nothing burger compared to the other one, which was really just a filament eruption. And this is what's coming through to us in the future. And this is why I think things are going to really pick up on the 19th. So let's look at this breathing apparatus that we call our Earth as well, because it's very interesting to see how it affects us on the earthquakes. So just to get you sort of associated with that, you can see on the left hand side here, this is a map I've done of the main energy lines that go across the earth. Some people call them ley lines, I call them geomagnetic lines. I think this is all part of the electrical system that is running through the earth, running through you, running through me, running through the whole solar system, running through the sun as well, and it is very connected. And these are the earthquakes here on the right hand side from the 1st of March. Now look, you have two sections going on. You have this main line here, which is a sort of goes through this sort of section here, follows this sort of blue line, and it does sort of dip back down round across the top of Europe. Now this is the heart chakra up here, and it sort of goes from the solar plexus to the heart chakra through the crown chakra, which is on this section here. So here we have the solar plexus, here we have the crown, and here we have the heart chakra. Up here we have the throat and third eye chakra as well, and that's a sort of valve, as it were, between the two lines, because here we have the root chakra, which you can see down there. Here we have the root chakra, and there's a lot of earthquakes usually around there. And then around at top of Mount Shasta, you have the sacrum chakra. And these two lines, so you have these two lines which are based upon, I would say, much more sort of grounded, earthy, egocentric, and that can be in a good way. I don't have a problem with the ego at all. And on the other side, it's much more sort of, I would say, fiery, a little bit more sort of passionate in a way, into a certain degree, a lot more sort of emotions and stuff like that. And we can see here that he's got these two lines, and then there's this bridging point that goes between the two. And this is what you've got to keep in mind. So here we have the 1st of March here, and we can see these two lines here going up, and the bridging point that goes between the two, which is the throat and the third eye, the manifestation chakras that we use when we have an idea, then we think about it and say it, therefore we can manifest it. And let's just see about this breathing sort of thing going on with the earth, this rhythmical sort of thing which I showed you earlier on. Here we have the 1st of March, and then this is the 2nd of March. So you can see already there is a sort of degree of change, certainly around this area here, where it's almost as if it's like breathing back in and reconcentrating its energies, and then it breathes out, and you get all over the place sort of earthquakes, and then it starts breathing in again, and we get these, come back to these two defined lines again, and it get the where we're still getting the two fine lines. It's much more prevalent around this section here than it was before. So then we're getting a bit more of a heart chakra, because it goes right up past the heart chakra, which is just there. Therefore, we're really being observing things by the sort of like 5th and the 6th of March, really observing things that matter to us as individuals. And I've seen this in the astro flower as well, in the tarot readings. It's become these first 2 weeks is all about positioning oneself, because when the sun does kick back in, and I reckon it's going to be on the 19th, you've got to have your action, you've got to have you've got to have your gig in you've got to have your plan in action, as it were, and start applying it. And this is at the next day, so then we have this real concentration here now, between the two, a lot less on the heart. It's starting to retract, as it were, and then it breaks through across the third eye and the throat chakra, and we get a little bit coming back towards the heart yet again, and then we get this contraction, retraction again back to the two lines, and then it's sort of, this is today at the moment, and it's mainly building up on this side. There's nothing within the solar plexus. There's only a little blip around the crown chakra, but it's all happening around the sacrum at the moment, which you can see on this section here. And this is the breathing, the coming to the breathing of the earth. Now, once you take into the breathing of the sun and the breathing of the earth and the breathing of yourself, once you start getting into the flows of it, you become like a surfer. And we're coming down to the crux of the wave of the energies at the moment. And when you're coming down to the crux of the waves as a surfer, that's when you've got to dig in deep. So then you're digging in deep within yourself, working out what you need to be doing. And as you dig in deep, that's when you can push yourself back up the wave, where you can get to the top of wave, where you can gain speed again and things start moving on. And that's when the 19th will come into play. Things will start kicking off at that moment there. Okay? So these are the things that are sort of, you need to be attentive of. I'll try and put links in the description below of all the things that I'm using at the moment, so you can go and have a good look at yourself. So these are the sort of things that you should be really paying attention on. This plays into the pole shift, and the reason it plays into pole shift for me is simply because the closer we get to that tipping point of no return in regards to pole shift energy is when the rhythms really start coming together. As we saw on that video earlier on, it sort of goes out of sync and then comes back into sync eventually where it's going as one. And this is what pole shift is all about. It's like a pendulum that swings from one side to the other on a regular basis as we go round the galaxy. And this pole shift here, as I'm noticing, the rhythm within the sun, the rhythm within the earth are becoming incredibly succinct to life itself. So it's becoming very noticeable between the moments when the sun is very active and when it's not active. If you are attentive to this, if you understand this and feel this, and you pay attention to the world around you, it is going to help you out enormously going forward in your spiritual explorations, within your material explorations, within your physical explorations, and within your mental explorations. The whole aspect of it is going to help you to have a much more constant flow, because it will be spits and spurts. It will be starting and stopping. And I think the sun, we've got one more section, and I think that's going to be around about August, September, October, around that period there, where you'll get a lot of solar activity. And then I think the sun is then going to be diving off into the lower cycles. And you need to be prepared for this. It is a big change. It happens every 5 years with the change in the solar cycle, which lasts around about 10 years, 10 to 11 years. And it can change, but knowing these cycles here is going to really help you in the future and planning and how you sort of engage in life. So it makes you the happiest person that you can possibly be, which is so important. It's so important for you, it's so important for me, it's so important for my kids, it's important for everybody, because the world and the universe works on a basis of, as long as I am okay, everybody else can be okay. When I am okay, I can actually help people. When I'm not okay, I can't help people. And this is it's a very simple understanding that when you're in the rhythm there, that's when you can really help people. So this is one of the reasons why I do these sort of videos. I will be going out this week, doing a bit of dowsing on the ley lines, getting a message from the earth, getting the chakra sequencing as well from the earth, and also just sort of seeing what's going on with the vibrations in the sun. That'll be coming out later on this week. If you want to find more about our sister channel, the Astro Flower, it is linked in the description below. Thank you very much for being here. Share this information far and wide, because if everybody else gets into this rhythm here, it'd be like one big conga. It'd be like a dance, wouldn't it? It'd be great. It'd be so much fun. I'd love it. You'd love it. We'd all love it. I like ice cream. You like it. What's that? Yeah, you know what it is. Anyway, yes, thank you very much for being here. Really do appreciate it. I'll see you soon, either on this channel here or on the Astro Flower. In the meantime, don't forget, life should be fun, so please do enjoy.